I think people want to support local bands, local DC bands.
It wouldn't have been possible without the bands. It wouldn't have been possible without all of you. So I'm really happy that you all are supporting local DC music. Because this is a local DC showcase. It's for DC and obviously by DC. So thank you again for coming.
For me, the Sockets Records was a way to document Friends' music. And it's always been that way. I mean, it just got more serious as I moved on. I didn't necessarily want it to get more serious, but it felt like more and more people were coming to me and saying, wow, I have this music, I don't know what to do with it. I'm most interested in just making sure this stuff doesn't slip through the cracks.
Step one, he's gathered a lot of people and he's got people excited, and there's a unifying factor now, and I like that. Even though there might not be a common theme through all the bands like there was with Discord, where everything with like a rah-rah punk vibe, but there's kind of a similar mindedness to everything that he's doing. There's across a lot of different musical genres. He's pulling in people that, you know, positive music people that want to put out good original music.
I think a lot of people want to know where DC music is going.
2004, 2005, like people weren't really talking a whole lot about local music.
DC's a very transient city. It's hard to keep bands together. People move all the time. There's not a lot of practice spaces. And what happened after 2005 was just like there was just a lot of bands that kind of lived and died. They weren't necessarily associated with any like scene or anything. They were just kind of fell into the national like mesh of indie rock bands trying to make it.
Maybe it's DC doesn't get that one big theme that everyone keeps kind of wanting to point back to, like the late 70s and 80s, to define DC.
What are some of the cliches?
I don't know. I mean, just being punk, making political music.
People give a lot more of a crap about Discord than what's happening now.
A lot of the bands that were on Discord and the people who made up that community are like, they're doing different things with their lives now.
So there's not a lot of new stuff at the moment, but that's all right. Fields go fallow. Have you ever farmed before? I haven't, but I can tell you that I know the general, you have fertile land, plant, you try to take care of the soil, but at some point, the way you take care of the soil is you let the field go fallow. You don't grow on it. And it takes a while, but then the soil revitalizes and becomes fertile again. And you may be the person who reaps the harvest, or you may not be, but you try to take care of the land.
Having bands and labels like Sockets and Future Times, people are just doing things now, and it's been it was needed.
Sean has found so many people, or they've found him, that, you know, for one reason or another, they just want to add to what's there, you know, and like make something real.
Sockets was started in 2004, really late 2004. So actually, I'm just now getting to the 7-year mark for the label.
Sockets originally was like this kind of weird like CDR label. They've just put out weird noise performances and things like that. It was heavily involved with radio CPR. It was just CDRs of just like noise bands.
You know, people's tastes sort of shift in terms of how they actually listen to music. So I started doing records, vinyl records, and digital. And so now, you know, the life of the label is sort of split into two parts. There's a CDR label trying to document what was going on in DC for about 2 or 3 years. And then the next sort of 3 or 4 years was more, okay, let's see if we can actually get some name recognition for bands that are doing a lot of really cool things in DC. I don't want to put out the same thing that you've heard for the last 10 years. Kind of push it a little bit.
One interesting thing that's happened over the last like 10, 12 years is like the idea that pop actually can be cool if it's done in the right way. Like it can be completely fresh and edgy if it's done in the right way. And that's kind of like, you know, we're not consciously thinking about that, but it's subconsciously part of us. Is like, well, we just write pop songs, you know.
Deleted Scenes is one of the hardest working bands I've ever worked with. I think they really just want to put out music and want to be on the road and want to share, you know, kind of their creativity with other people, and it's awesome. They're, I think, one of the only bands right now in DC that's really kind of like grinding and going out and touring.
The song's called Burglarizing the Deaf.
Started in summer 2005, so it's been over 6 years. An audience interest is part of, like, it has to do with the story of the band. Like, how does where they're from reflect something about their music? With regards to like our story, it's kind of like just DC kids that listen to pop, folk kind of stuff, I don't know, and it morphed into this thing, and that's kind of our story. DC is in our veins, and it shows in the music.
It's a really powerful thing in a music community to like believe in your friend's idea, or to like allow your friends to inspire you. And I feel like that's happening a lot more now than maybe it did a couple of years ago.
And I think it's very important that artists have people to look towards, to see what they're doing, and somewhat of a community. Even if people don't hang out, like all the bands that you think about and listen to in a city, you still know out there you can listen to them, you can go see them, and you just
know when people are playing.
And you know when people are playing, and I think it's extremely important for people to lean on each other and also just, this is what they're doing, this is what's possible.
The sort of community aspect of the label that I run, I think we're all really, there's a sense of, we're in this together. I can't do it. I run the label by myself, but at the same time, I couldn't do it without the band's help. We all send out promo stuff. You know, it's kind of a collective, community-oriented thing.
It's definitely the coolest like camaraderie record label I've ever been in.
There is a real kind of community feeling to it. I mean, and a lot of how a lot of bands in DC play music, there isn't that feeling anymore, you know?
Also, this last song we're bringing out some friends of ours in Turu. Yeah! So they're going to play out some drums with us.
It really is making friends with other bands, and you know, then you can get in front of their audiences, and you get a chance for people to see you that way. You know, we met Sean, and he really dug the first LP we put out, Phosphenes, and you know, so excited to put it out on that. And ever since, you know, I just feel like we have a good friendship with Sean. It's been really nice. Like, it was like kind of a no-brainer that, you know, we wanted to do the second record together.
This is the first time it feels like we've gotten to the point where we're playing our songs, if that makes any sense. And we thought more about, I think, the ideas for songs where it wasn't just, here's a part, here's another cool part. We really thought about where we wanted the songs to go, and making sure everything kind of felt like it fit together on the album. So I think that we just tried to step up our game a little bit. Not just, the first record was, put out a record, great, that's fantastic. But the next thing is, well, we've done that, so where do you go from here? You got to have kids want to take possession of the DC scene, or it doesn't even have to be, you know, a scene. It could be dance music, it could be anything. But you got to have kids want to put out music, get their friends involved, and it's like what Brian was saying, the saturation, like this, the overload. It's hard to focus people, I think, and there's just so much out there. I just don't. Maybe the bands aren't working hard enough, but it just seems like there hasn't been. You know, and I've lived in DC, you know, for the last 10, 12 years, and I've lived in the area for a long time before that, and it just doesn't, I don't know, it just, kids don't seem to be taking possession of. I don't really know whose fault is that. I guess I'll just blame everyone.
knows how to put music out right now. How do you release music? Anybody under the age of 30 thinks music should be free. And if you're not in that group, then you're an awesome music lover who just really wants to support bands.
Our first release was on CD, but I think after that, Sean kind of decided he wants things to be just on vinyl or like just MP3. Vinyl's like a really weird medium. It's really hard to actually make money selling a record. You know, to make one of like 500 records, you know, it's gonna cost you $12 a record.
You're also dealing with just MP3s are really easy to find online. You just type into Google what you want to hear, and there it is. It's all the songs are up. You can download them really easily and for free most of the time. How do you deal with that? I don't know. It's kind of it's an interesting, I think, problem for labels to be creative. You have to be creative. What do you put a record out now in a coffee mug?
That's really what it's about with Sockets too. Is like, you know, we're not trying to pay anyone's mortgage with this. It's just, you know, how can we afford to, like, you know, what can we afford to do to make this a great scene? Like, what can we add to it? You know, and how little money can we lose doing that?
I've been on tour with Sean. He used to be in a band called Hand-Fed Babies, and I used to be in a band called Sentai. We were on tour for a couple weeks. We traveled around the country and things like that. We became good buddies. We recorded some music, and we wanted someone to put it out. And I just asked him if he would like to press the new Building CD. He totally did.
Interested in making weird, new, interesting music, and then, but also at the same time, not having it be so weird that people are like, "Oh, I don't want to hear this." They want to kind of push the envelope of what experimental pop can do or what pop music can do. And I really like that. I really like that. Like, a lot of our songs are put together by different jam sessions. There's a song that we have that's based on this jam I made. I just took like a clip of like our first CD, some music from that, and just repeated a couple seconds over again. It's like ba 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 ba, and we actually put that into our song. It's one of our favorite parts of the music. We just kind of, you know, just all sorts of different things. You know, it's just, I mean, that's kind of more the art than the actual music itself.
Kind of the music that happens when three people like really look individually at what a song sounds like and sort of have different takes, because we don't talk beforehand about sort of trying to sound like something or something else. And yeah, I don't know if that's like a policy or what, but it does sort of really encourage the kind of sound that we have, that we don't really discuss those sorts of things.
There's really no like intent or purpose, we just create.
DC is Protect You. Yeah! They're on a record label called Future Times, which is doing amazing stuff, so please check them out. So without any further ado, we're going to have you experience Protect You. Thanks again for coming out, y'all.
We have both released
solo projects
on Sockets
and
a long time ago.
If you have the Plain Lace cassette, then and you're watching this documentary, then I want to meet you because that's a rare item.
This was a
Church Clothes.
Church Clothes was mine. There's a stack full of them back over there that Sean was gracious enough to let me have when they did not move a lot of units. I bought a sampler off of Craigslist, which I got from some guy who worked in a kitchen in DuPont Circle. I had to go pick it up from him, and then I invited Mike to mess around with it with me. When we started doing this, these were really new instruments for us. Like, we didn't really know how to work any of them or how to make music with it at all.
Each time we play, we kind of approach it sort of as a new experience, and we kind of try to make it slightly different each time for us and for the audience, and try some new ideas, try this new thing, and we don't have like a standard, set, and just sort of approach each thing individually. So that's exciting for us. I think it forces some ideas out of us, and then also takes things off our list, saying, "No, that didn't work. No, let's ditch that thing." So it's cool. Sean and Sockets have done an awesome job of trying to, like, a good cross-section of lots of different styles. It's pretty awesome that he's been able to kind of really, again, keep an open mind about things and just not really try to be like Sockets is just this, He's done a wide variety of releases and I think captured a lot of, what makes DC a pretty awesome place to kind of live and be an artist.
Congrats to Sockets and all you guys for doing what you do.